A nice little dub last night. Nice little 2-0 138-135 win for the Kings. They get their first win of the year on the second night of a back-to-back. Now 1-4 in game 2 of back-to-backs. We love to see it. A little bit of dog, a little bit of fight. That was good to see. What's up, James? Good morning.
It would have been nice if they didn't lose the first night of a back-to-back. So they were 0-4 on the second night of a back-to-back, 4-0 on the first night of a back-to-back. Yeah. Now they're 4-1 on the first night and 1-4. I guess I'm nitpicking, but at the same time,
I'm gonna wear this one a little bit. I'm gonna wear this in two ways. A lot of this is my fault. Number one, you'll remember, and I forget who said it in the chatty house, youtube.com/ESPN1320 TV. youtube.com/ESPN1320, Twitch at twitch.tv/ESPN1320 if you want to join the chatty house. Somebody in the chatty house brought up yesterday that I did say on Tuesday that I would rather the Kings lose to Charlotte and beat Orlando than vice versa. Mm-hmm. That's my bad. That's on me. My fault. I put that energy into the universe. And then I know you're exhausted. You go to every Kings home game. You don't live around the corner from the arena. You have a little bit of a commute in. You do this show. You're in here 8:30, 9 o'clock every day in the morning. And when the Kings have a home back-to-back, that is a couple of long days for you consecutively.
Yeah, they're like 16, 17-hour days.
Right. And it's a lot. And I know it sounds not to necessarily be complaining about what we do for work. It's not like we're roofing. But it's still, it's a long time to be awake. It's a long time to be focused, and you got to be locked in, and you're asking questions, you're writing, you're doing all this stuff. Anyways, it's a long day. Mm-hmm. And you do them consecutively when the Kings are on back-to-backs. And they went to 2 OTs last night on the second night of this back-to-back. And it's my bad for two things. One, Orlando, the worst shooting team in the league, hits 4 of their first 5 3-pointers. And your boy, who can't keep his damn mouth shut and can't keep his damn Twitter fingers to himself, says on the internet, hey, this is good news for the Kings. Orlando being red hot early, there's no way they keep this up.
There's no way, Kyle.
They went 25 of 44 from 3. Little franchise record for me.
A franchise record, Kyle. It was 20. Like franchise record? I mean, Mike Brown's like, I don't know. It was a lot of threes. I don't know if they've hit that many. It was like, I almost, when it became my turn to ask a question, which I think I was first or second. I was second. I had the mic. I thought I was going to be first, and then Sean Cunningham behind me asked a question. There's 2 mics. And I was going to be like, yeah, that's a franchise record, because he had asked 2 questions that he didn't know the answers to walking in, like during his opening statement.
Yeah.
And I was going to answer both of them.
Sure.
And it was like, yeah, that was a franchise record, 25.
Yeah.
And then there was something else that they did that was like, realistically, it was weird, and that he didn't have the answer to. Yeah.
It was so that was the first thing. The second thing, and dude, I'm not a media OG, right? I am not our boss, Charlie, who's been in the game. I'm not that, but I've been around long enough. I've been calling baseball games and doing radio shows for 15, 16 years now, right?
Yeah.
Like I get the Kings are up. I forget what it was, 13, 15, something like that in the second half. And I turned to my wife and I said, well, this is good. At least I'll get to go to bed early now.
Kyle.
That's on me. That is 1,000% my fault. I got so locked into my idea that the Magic couldn't shoot that I went, oh, they're down. They have no way of getting back in this game.
Yes. That should have been the way it was, Kyle.
No doubt. Like the process was sound. The execution, very poor. Everybody knows that you never go, man, this game's moving right along.
Mm-hmm.
You never say that. You never say, hey, at least we're not going to get overtime tonight. Never say that.
Yeah. You don't want to jinx yourself.
Yeah, and that's my fault. I looked over. I went, hey, going to get to bed early. catch up on the fourth quarter tomorrow. This will be good. And sure enough,
Yeah.
I'm up until the end of the second overtime now.
Yeah.
And
it was a long night, man. I just kept thinking, is this going to keep going?
Dude, it really felt like it was gonna.
Is it going to go to
It felt
triple
like a third
overtime?
OT was coming.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But no, the Kings, really, like I said, they showed. We have talked so many times, well, 4 actually this year when we've come in on the after the second night of a back-to-back and been like, what was that?
Yeah.
Where's the? You always talk about the compete level.
Yep.
It is not there. And last night it was very much there. There were so many opportunities in that game for Sacramento to be like, well, all right, we're done tonight.
Yes.
And they just never did. They got a key defensive stop. They hit a key bucket. They got a key rebound. They just did every single little thing they needed to do to pull out a win against an Eastern Conference playoff team and a team in Orlando that to me is the type of team that gives the Kings trouble.
Yeah.
They're a good defensive team. It's a lot of length, a lot of athleticism, and Sacramento overcame that and got the win in 2 OTs. Really, really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of things to this. Number one, you can never expect a team that averages 10 threes a game to come up with 25. That's not going to happen typically.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be one thing. The other thing is that's a really, really good Orlando team. They did have injuries. Franz Wagner, got hurt during the game. They just kept Gary Harris got hurt during the game. They had Anthony wasn't able to go before the game. I don't know. And Kyle, just so you know, the fan returns have the first fan returns for NBA All-Stars. Just got released.
Oh, nice.
Just got released. So De'Aaron Fox.
My buttons ready. Hang on. De'Aaron Fox voting.
He has made the list of guards, but he is way down at number 8 at 210,911 votes. That is the only Sacramento King on the list of fan voting to start. So,
all right.
We have front court is LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic, Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Alperen Şengün,
sure,
Victor Wembanyama at 8. Şengün is put together.
He's having a really nice,
incredible season. Chet Holmgren is number 9, and Karl Anthony Towns comes in number 10. We've got Luka and Steph as number 1 and number 2 at guards.
Okay.
Shai Gilgeous, Alexander.
Yep.
James Harden at number 4.
Sure.
Kyrie Irving at number 5. Did people think this was 2008? I'm wondering who voted for this? Anthony Edwards at number 6. John Morant comes in blazing.
Well, okay.
At number 7.
Well, to be fair, he has been all-star caliber in his 6 games.
Yeah. Which they did win a few of those. We have Klay Thompson at number 9, and who is 30,000 votes behind De'Aaron Fox. Number 10, everyone's favorite, Austin Reeves. What the?
Hey, if you had told me to guess where Austin Reeves was in the All-Star voting, I would have said way higher than 10.
Yeah. I'd have
been 2 or 3.
Have people been brainwashed into this? I don't know. You know who's leading the Eastern Conference guards? Tyrese Halliburton.
Of course.
Yeah. Domantas Sabonis is not on the list of NBA fan voting All-Stars. But after picking up his 7th triple-double of the season last night, I'm going to guess that he will be an All-Star.
Yeah, I think, because it's not just a fan vote. The fan vote is just for the starters, right?
No, I think the fan vote, it goes into a hopper. You have the fan vote, you have a media vote, and then you have the players vote.
I thought whoever were the top 2 guards and the top 3 front court guys had to be starters in the game.
I don't know, because I think that you cannot make the All-Star team and be a top 3 guy in the fan voting.
I know it's weighted with the other voting, but
yeah,
at the end of the fan voting,
okay, that's possible.
I think if that's I don't know. Anyways,
yeah, we'll look into that.
I clearly care a lot about how the NBA All-Star selection process goes. Speaking of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, well,
Yep.
we're gonna dive into King's Magic. Malik Monk was incredible last night. 37 points, 9 assists. We will talk a ton about Malik Monk. Rough night for De'Aaron Fox. Just there's a ton to dive into, but real quick, you mentioned Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Have you been following his recent run?
No.
The Thunder are 4-1 in this run. They lost last night to Atlanta, 141-138. But Shea in those 5 games starting December 27th against the Knicks, 36 points, 7 boards, 8 assists, 40 points, 4 boards, 3 assists. That was against Denver in a 119-93 win. 24 points, 4 boards, 6 assists in a win over Brooklyn. 36, 6, and 7 in a win over Boston. And then last night, 33, 13, and 8 in a loss to the Hawks. Shea is ridiculous right now.
He is ridiculous right now. I'd also Sabonis is on this crazy tear.
Yeah,
where he's had 15 or more rebounds in 3 straight games.
it's outrageous.
He also has 5 triple doubles in his last 9 games, and he's the leader in the NBA in rebounding once again. He's bumped his rebounding number up to 12.8 on the season, 19.6, 12.8 rebounds, 7.5 assists. Where he's heading towards like triple double range. I don't think he'll get to the 10 assist number, but like we're watching greatness, and it's just so underappreciated. Even if he does turn the ball over 6 times last night and 17 over the last 2 games,
That's crazy.
yeah, but still, like what you're watching is wild. Like how impactful he has been night in and night out.
Hey, and in that same stretch of 5 games where he's gone in rebounds 12, 10, 21, 19, and then 23 last night.
Yeah.
He's also averaging 23 points a game in that stretch. Over the last 5 games, 23 points, 17 boards, 8 assists.
Wow.
That is a ridiculous stretch of
Yes.
games.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
23 boards last night.
very, very underappreciated.
I would argue that Domantas Sabonis last night, and I guess this kind of gets a little bit to what you're saying, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way at all. He went 22, 23, and that's hard to say. 22, 23, and 12, and it felt like he was like maybe the 3rd best player for the Kings.
I think he was my 4th key to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, my 4th of the 6 quick thoughts.
Yeah. By the way, my key of, hey, let Orlando shoot it, didn't age well.
Yeah.
It's on me. It's
all of this was Kyle's fault.
Kings would have rolled last night if I would have kept my damn mouth shut.
That's
all right. Speaking of your keys to the game, your 6 quick thoughts, those are coming up next, of course, with a bonus thought as well. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Kings beat the Magic in 2 overtimes. We have a ton of storylines from last night to dig into, and we'll begin that next with James' 6 quick thoughts on ESPN 1320.
Good morning, Jetty House. What's going on? Yeah, Spencer, I agree with you. Orlando will go 3 of 30 next game.
Oh, dude, they have no chance.
Yeah. Sorry.
It was so funny because it felt like starting like maybe a third of the way through the 3rd quarter. It felt like every time they hit a 3, there was like on whoever shot its face.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, another one went in.
Well, the crazy thing. Okay, so first of all, they have a bunch of players that like many people have never heard of. I'm not the only one, right, who's never heard of like Anthony Black or Caleb Houston. Now, I was watching Caleb Houston, and is it just me, or did he spend his entire childhood watching Kyle Anderson mixtapes? Like, he's a Kyle Anderson clone. I didn't know you could clone slow-mo.
Who is this?
Caleb Houston. Everything he does is super methodical. I had no idea there was someone in the NBA named Trevelin Queen. Trevelin Queen.
I'm pretty sure I made an ABBA joke when he got drafted.
Hang on, I'm going to plug in my laptop. I'll be right back.
Okay, very good. Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, I as much as I would like to say we planned to wear the same hoodie, we did not plan that.
What's this?
Twin gang. Yeah, man, what 25 the Kings got outscored by 30 from the 3-point line and won.
Yeah, that's wild.
Don't do what?
Don't do that, guy.
The ABBA joke?
Oh, I don't know. I like
What up, Manny?
Yeah.
Manny McNair?
Traveling Queen.
They're 5th in the West still. A game up on the Pelicans and a game back of the Clippers?
Who, the Kings?
I think.
Yeah, they're right there. Yeah, Domantas Sabonis is now second in the NBA in triple doubles. He surpassed Luka Doncic. He's 4 behind Nikola Jokic. And again, he leads the NBA at 12.8 rebounds a game. He's ahead of
coming back. Oh, good question from Leezy at the Chatty House. Before we get to your 6 quick thoughts here, James, what's the longest Kings game you've ever been to?
I think there was one triple overtime game. I might be wrong, though.
I feel like there was a Tyreek Evans related triple overtime game.
Yeah,
I could totally be making that up.
That's possible. That's a good question. I don't know. We had the game.
I'm going to look this up for you.
Was it a week ago where I tweeted out, this is the longest first quarter
in
the history of the NBA? And then next thing you know, they stopped the game and they announced that they had inadvertently added 53 seconds to the first quarter. Like, you get so used to the flow of how a game should go. And when it feels like something's off, like, I've covered too many games where I instantly felt like something was wrong.
Yeah.
And it was someone added a minute to the game. To the first quarter. Yeah.
It's very, very odd that 51 seconds would feel like that. But like you said, when you get into the flow of a game, after as many games as you've been to and watched. All right, let's get to your 6 quick thoughts with James Ham. Hang on. Dude, we have an intro now.
We do.
How'd yesterday's Kings game go? Kings insider James Ham has 6 notes you need to know. Here are James Ham's 6 quick thoughts.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. God, that's hot. I feel like I should be driving down the road in like a really cool car with my hair blowing in the wind while that's being.
Oh, yeah. It's got big Don Henley energy for sure.
I love it. Number 1 of James's 6 quick thoughts. The heater. After a strange game on Tuesday, Malik Monk found his game in the second quarter of this one. I said game 3 times. That's when you know it's a long
You're
night.
writing these at 4 a.m.
Well, like, no, I'm writing them during the game. I had game 3 times in the first sentence. Wow. That my apologies to people out there who read 6 quick thoughts, but not the guy who tried to correct me and was wrong. You can suck it. So that's the way it goes. The Kings' super 6-man caught fire from deep, drilling 5 triples in the second quarter. He finished with 37 points and 9 assists. He was so incredible. And when De'Aaron Fox, who backpacks his team every single night, can't actually like come through, and you have a guy step up, like, kudos to Malik Monk after a rough day. I think we lambasted the guy yesterday a little bit.
Yeah, it was that. Yeah, I don't know about lambasted, but definitely went, hey, he's too good and too important to have games like the one he had the other night.
Yeah,
and Tuesday night, I guess.
But also, I'll take the same thing. Like, I don't think Mike Brown did anything wrong, and I'm sure we'll discuss this later. But like, sometimes you got to check somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, my bad if I blow up the chatty house there. It is what it is.
Oh yeah, no, Soren, it's happening.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, no. Malik was awesome last night, and after that second one went down in the second quarter, it had the feel of something.
Yeah.
Something's happening.
Something magical.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
Nice, dude. Really good.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to add to this one. We'll talk about Malik Monk later. I have a Malik Monk take.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll save it.
I think I also have a Malik Monk take.
Yeah, when he plays,
well.
if he's going to play like that, not even score 37, but be that assertive and distribute. He had the 9 assists. He's going to be that assertive offensively, and if he's going to shoot it well from outside, it's really, really hard to beat the Kings. Number 2.
We had a Keegan Murray sighting.
Yeah, we sure
playing against a fellow top 2022 top 4 pick and Paolo Banchero. Murray went to work. He's been in a bit of a slump, but he was aggressive, notching 28 points on 13 of 21 shooting, including 3 big dunks. He had 12 rebounds in the win. Kyle, the 12 rebounds, 6 came in the 5-minute double overtime session. He was a game changer on the glass. And there was even one that he snared that was crazy. He just, like a ball went to shoot off the rim and he just, boom, grabbed it and going the other way.
So,
really, really impressive.
He had, I had this note. He had 4 offensive boards last night. They were all in the third quarter through double overtime. So all in the second half and OT. 3 of them led to buckets and 7 points, including his game tying 3 late in the second half that made it 135 all. That make by Keegan Murray was set up by a Keegan Murray offensive rebound.
Yeah, that's science.
Yep. It's easy work. All
Yep.
Right, number 3.
Catch and shoot. Harrison Barnes showed zero hesitation in his game, which I think is the key.
Yep.
He knocked down 4 of 6 from long distance, 17 points. He 17 points on 9 shots. That's a Harrison Barnes night. He added 3 rebounds. At one point, he had 4 rebounds. They took one away. I'm not sure if he finished with 3 or 4. They kept messing with his rebounds, but he'd had a tough string of outings and had been called out even here on this radio station multiple times. Whether it
Kenny
was
got after him yesterday,
us or I mean, if Harrison Barnes was listening yesterday to Kenny Caraway, he instantly knew that he needed to have a better game.
Kenny didn't say anything wrong. Everything Kenny said was spot on.
Yeah.
And Harrison Barnes, and again, it's not, he doesn't need to have 17 a night, but like be visible. There wasn't really a time last night where I forgot Harrison Barnes was on the court. He was checking Paolo Banchero full court, and Paolo hit some really tough shots. He's a hell of a player. But I mean, Harrison Barnes was an effective player who impacted winning last night. And that has not been the case for what's felt like a month.
You know, it's funny. Everyone who was at the game, the 2 things that pop into their head from that game when you're watching like the warm-ups and pregame, number 1 is that Paolo Banchero is a huge human being. He is not like, he is a legit, I think 6'10", but broad-shouldered, like super thick through the chest. Like he is a big, big dude. And the other thing is, oh my gosh, Jonathan Isaac is huge.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Another big dude. They are way bigger in person than you would think. Yeah. And I don't think being on the West Coast and them being in Orlando, we don't see a lot of their games and all that stuff. But if you're not paying attention, especially Isaac has grown into his body. I was lucky enough to go to the Final Four where Paolo Banchero was, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's a big man.
Yeah. If they ever get Jonathan Isaac right, where he and Paolo can play next to each other, that's nuts. But you got to get him healthy first.
Yeah.
All right, let's rip through these last 3. Number 4.
Sabonis moved into second place with his 7th triple-double of the season, 22 points, 23 rebounds, 12 assists, 5th triple-double in 9 games. Rebound numbers are spiking. He's crazy.
We had the Domas numbers conversation earlier. Number 5.
We did.
He's really good. Conclusion.
Yeah, exactly. Super quiet. De'Aaron Fox is one of the most consistent scorers in the NBA, but he didn't look like himself in this one. He missed all 4 of his 3-point shots, finished with 15 points, 7 assists in 44 minutes. It was an off night, and you could tell he was hurting. Like he felt, you know what he felt like? He felt like I felt like. Like,
he didn't look right at all. He is not always on offensively, and I know he took 22 shots last night.
but in double overtime.
Yeah, and he just didn't look as engaged as he normally does, particularly late in the game. And I respect that a little bit with Malik Monk and Keegan Murray playing as well as they were, but yeah, not a great night for De'Aaron Fox. But on the other hand, and we're going to talk about this later, but if you tell me De'Aaron Fox is going 6 of 22 with 15 points, I'm going,
and the other team's going to hit 25 threes,
yeah,
game over.
Yeah, I would have been like,
Yeah.
wow, the Magic won by 40.
Yeah,
And that was not the case.
I would also point out in the double overtime session, De'Aaron Fox did finish with 5 points and help put them over the top. He did come through in the clutch.
Yep, as he usually does. Number 6.
Another solid game. Trey Lyles continues to round into shape after missing the first 13 games of the season. He's on fire from long range in his last 4 games. 10 points, 3 rebounds. I thought he was big, especially with a lot of players like the Kevin Huerter, Chris Duarte duo were so non-existent.
Yeah.
And, there are other players that like even Davion Mitchell did not have a good game. And so for him to come in and again provide some spark, I thought was really cool.
Yeah. And like you said, drawing a couple offensive fouls as well. That
3.
last one, a little questionable on that last one, but hey, you know what? It was going this way. I have a bonus 7th point.
Oh, I'm listening.
7th quick thought. And then we'll hit the break. Kevin Huerter's headband's got to go, bro. That's it.
No more headband.
That's you messed with his minutes in the preseason, didn't work. Messed with putting him in the on the bench in the regular season, hasn't worked. You messed with cutting his minutes, hasn't worked. Last night he was clearly pressing. You saw him miss a 3, and then on the next possession, I can't remember if he got a steal or a rebound, but he goes down and in transition, just pulls from 3, bricks it badly. That guy needs a change, and right now the most logical change is get rid of the headband.
That makes sense.
That's it.
He's missing.
I'm going to fix Kevin Huerter.
He's missing in warmups, like straight up 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10. Like there's a hitch in his 3-point shot. I watched him go to the free throw line in warmups, and you could see him have the hitch in a free throw, and then he fixed it. He's got a hitch in his wrist in his shot, and I don't know what's going on, but he's in his head.
Tough.
So, yep.
Frank in the chatty house says he was over, but he had 7 rebounds. I don't care. I need Kevin Huerter to hit shots, man.
Yeah,
that's it. Like 7 boards is great, but
at least he impacted the game.
I need him to hit shots. All right, and we need to hit a break. We're going to do that. I have a Malik Monk take that we need to get to next on ESPN 1320.
Over his last 4 games, Trey Lyles is averaging 12.5 points, 3.8 rebounds. He's shooting 60% from 3. He's hit, 12 of his last, 17, 20? 12 to 20.
This play was sick.
Oh, yeah. But see, I watched it in real time. They didn't show the replay. I didn't know if Huerter took a misstep and hit the rim, because that's what it kind of looked like.
Oh, no, you got it. The Queen just timed it perfectly.
And is that where Queen hit his head? There was some weird stuff. So. I really needed a replay. Like, I should have figured it out on my laptop last night and started doing replay stuff, because there was some weird, crazy stuff.
I'm typically watching at home. If you ever need a replay of something, let me know and I will video that real quick for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll be there on Friday though.
Oh yeah.
And we need to play the game too.
Sorry if I said something inappropriate in the first segment.
Nah, that was hilarious. In fact, you know what? Do I have time?
Oh no.
See you, everybody.
Kyle.
I'll be right back.
Oh, Kyle. There was literally someone who corrected my stats at the end of a double overtime game. I don't know if people understand how difficult it is to do 6 quick thoughts, but 6 quick thoughts I write in an email. I send them to myself, then I clip them out of the email and I load them in. Well, I'd load them in the 4th quarter. So then I have to go through a Twitter thread, which is 7 tweets long. I have to go through and correct the stats while the game is going on. So did I miss that De'Aaron Fox miss all 5 of his 3-point shots? Not all 4? Yes, I did. I think he had a late 3 miss that I missed. But someone corrected my stat and said that Keegan Murray, not to be rude, but you work for ESPN, Keegan Murray had 31 points and 11 rebounds, not 28 points and 12 rebounds. And I just happen to have the box score sitting next to me, the official box score from the NBA, which I snapped a picture of and said, not to be rude, but here's the official box score, which said 28-12. So no, I was not wrong. De'Aaron Fox stat, yeah. Typos, sure. But so again, not to quote Sean Spencer from Psych, but suck it. Where was that? Second overtime session. You're not getting Miss Mac. You're not getting fiery ham. You're getting hanging on by a thread ham. That's what you're getting. You're getting like 34 hours over 2 days ham, like stretched thin.
Luckily, it's been a short week.
Yes, Jim Garfinkel. The 2-minute report will look at the last 2 minutes of the game, the entire overtime, first overtime, and entire second overtime session.
Hey, man. Three officiating things from that game.
Mhm.
1, love the no call on the Domas screen. 2,
Okay, so I didn't get to see, again, that's one that I needed to see the replay where, was it Suggs that laid there dead for like 8 minutes?
I forget who it was, but
Yeah.
he was definitely moving, but that's a savvy vet moving screen. That's just good basketball, in my opinion. Anyways, 2, I thought the Trey Lyles offensive foul was insane. I thought that was a brutal call, but not nearly as brutal as the not out of bounds on Paolo that should have ended the game.
Yes.
That's it. Okay, here we go. Yeah, like I said, I the officiating at the end of that game was bananas, but I don't know if any call was more bananas than the out of bounds on the Kings when Banchero just threw it out of bounds. They showed the replay. I thought initially he got fouled. And then the way he was shaking his head, I went, oh, he must have just thrown it out of bounds, because the way the way the TV broadcast cut it, he looked like really disappointed and shaking his head. I was like, oh, he must have thrown it out of bounds. And then the Magic are lining up with the ball under the basket, and I'm going, what? So didn't get fouled? Like, what?
Oh no.
Because I thought it was clear. The only outcome there, that watching live, the only outcome that didn't make sense was out of bounds on the Kings.
Yeah.
And then they show a replay, and like I said, I think it was Monk, like swipes at it, but never gets close.
I think it was Keegan.
Was it Keegan? Whoever it was, swipes at it, was never close. Ball goes flying out of bounds. All right, man, sure.
Yeah, and people were asking about the review. I need to go back and look at the rules on that, but I believe because both teams were out of challenges, that they couldn't. I'm not sure, but I thought within the last 2 minutes of a game, you're allowed to look at an out of bounds.
I thought officials at least would look.
They should have looked at that the whole time,
right.
and I mean, the fans let them have it. They were booing loudly, and then they kept showing the replay, and it was like shock and awe. And it was the female official on the outside that called that.
It was JTA,
because they were. Oh, okay, that makes sense. He did play like 19 seconds. Yeah, in that game.
This is why I love the Chatty House. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 messages telling us it was JTA.
Okay.
Good job, Chatty House.
Yeah. Again, like writing a game that's coming down to the wire.
Oh, yeah, no.
I had two leads. I
Mhm.
had they win, they lose.
Sure.
And then I'd even like put in during the Keegan Murray 6 quick thought, which finishes with he added 12 rebounds in the win. I actually had written in the loss. And once you write it, though, I'm a superstitious guy. I'm like, no, I got to leave that. And so I left it there and then went back at the last second before I tweeted out and changed in the win.
I see.
Yeah.
Good work.
Just like, definitely a baseball guy. I like the superstitions run deep.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You can. One time I remember Susan Slusser, who used to be the A's beat writer, former Giants beat writer.
Former Giants beat writer?
Yeah, so she took all the Giants stuff out of her bio on Twitter.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe Giants beat. I don't know. Anyways, former A's beat writer is what's important. And there was one time she had pre-written a story. And if you're unfamiliar, when you write a story, there's the hyperlink, which is the link you see when, like, at the top of your browser.
Mm-hmm.
And that hyperlink after the slash, it'll be like Kings dash Magic dash double dash overtime dash win, whatever it is. Like she wrote up the loss, and then the A's came back in this game, but she did not change her hyperlink. So her hyperlink was like A's lose to Mariners or whatever it was, and they actually won. And once the hyperlink's out, you can't change it. It was a whole thing.
Yeah,
thankfully you didn't do that.
It's not the hyperlink. It's I'm trying to. Is it a slug? Like whatever that's called. I think it's a slug. Like you can change
the URL.
Yeah. But you can change that before it goes out.
Right.
And and so no, once it's out there though, you cannot change it.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right.
You can suck it. There we go. Great. Thanks, Kyle.
If anyone missed it, here's what James said earlier.
My apologies to people out there who read 6 quick thoughts, but not the guy who tried to correct me and was wrong. You can suck it. I
have a Malik Monk take after last night's game, and I had this take before last night's game, but last night helped underscore my point. And in talking about it with a couple of buddies, I think I have ironed out exactly what I mean.
Okay.
I think Malik Monk is the Kings' most important player.
Okay.
And I say that fully understanding and fully aware of what De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis both individually bring to the table. And frankly, what they bring to the table together.
Okay.
And I understand that they are the Kings' 2 best players, bar none. That is the case. And that is going to be the case night in and night out. But the reason Malik Monk is so important for the Kings to me is because you know what you're going to get 9 nights out of 10 from De'Aaron Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, with this season, 99 nights out of 100. You know what you're going to get 99 nights out of 100 from Domantas Sabonis.
Yep.
That is your baseline as a team. That is your baseline as a, hey, that's a good NBA team. They're not going to be the worst team in the league. But just those 2 guys don't make you a playoff team.
Yeah.
And they certainly they don't make you a contender. And I don't think there's any 2 players in the league who do make you a contender by themselves. Malik Monk is what puts the Kings into a different level, or onto a different level.
Okay.
Because when he plays like he does last night, where he is assertive offensively, where he is distributing and being that real like second point guard for them. And when anybody who scores 37 points is going to be helpful, but it doesn't even need to be 37. It could be 18. It could be 20.
Mm-hmm.
There is an energy he brings. There is a spark he brings. When his threes go down, there's a different pop in the arena. Like it's just the energy is just different when Malik Monk is on the court and when Malik Monk is rolling. And I think you see that with the crowd. I think you see that with the team. And Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox are great. Like undeniably all-star, all-NBA caliber players. Got it. The Kings this year, as constructed, are going to go as far as Malik Monk takes them.
Okay, I would say that it was the same last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think it's anything. It is the way this team was like successful last year was when Malik Monk brought the energy. They were different. And so I don't disagree with you, but I would also continue to argue this point with anyone who wants to bring it up because it gets brought up in my mentions all the time. The Kings are a better team with Malik Monk as the sixth guy coming in off the bench and changing the energy in the room.
100%. I agree with that.
He can go be a starter somewhere, and maybe that's what happens here.
Mhm.
Maybe he goes on to be a starter and he's going to get
Man,
an
that'd be
opportunity
devastating.
to run his own team. But his role in the NBA is likely as this six-man type mentality, but a six-man that can play 46 minutes in a game. He's not your standard six-man who comes in and plays 18 minutes or 22 minutes.
Right.
Some nights, sure, he plays 22, 24 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
but he's a guy that if he's rolling and if he's right, Mike Brown sticks with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so Chris Duarte, he played 10 minutes last night. He started again kung fu chopping everybody, and he went and sat down on the bench and didn't get to play again. Kevin Huerter, he couldn't hit a shot at all. So, he played 18 minutes. Davion Mitchell wasn't impactful when he came in the game.
Yep.
So you rode the Malik Monk train, and that's how Mike Brown has handled this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And like I can't fault that. Like I had a conversation years ago with Paul Westphal, and he said no coach in the league will put their best 5 players on the floor as their starting lineup.
Right.
And if they do, they just don't understand the dynamic of the game.
Well, right. Or your roster construction is screwed.
Yeah. Well, and this was coming from Paul Westphal, who at some point in his career was a 6-man,
Mm-hmm.
and a guy who averaged 25 points a game. Like, this was a great score. He's like, no. You need someone to come in and change the complexity of the game, to change the energy, to score baskets in a different way than the rest of your team, to not have to play within the structure of a specific offense, to come in and freelance a little bit. You need that type of player. And that's what Malik Monk is. And I hope that he appreciates that. And I hope that, like, whatever it is that the Kings can pay him, well, I know what the Kings can pay him, but I hope that that's enough to keep him around long term, because I really do think he's a very, very impactful player that makes the Kings a much better team.
And you saw it in each of the last 2 nights. I think you're right. This was the case last year, but to me, it really got highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
It was highlighted the last 2 nights in Malik Monk gets pulled after 5 minutes and really struggles against Charlotte, and the Kings could never get it going against a bad team.
Yeah.
And last night, very good defensive team in Orlando, and Monk comes in and he hits his 5 threes in the second quarter. He scores 15 points. He finishes the night with 37 to go with his 9 assists.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, 37 and 9. If you go look at the players who have done that this year, I looked that up last night, who have gone at least 37 and 9 in a game.
Mm-hmm.
It's several guys a bunch of times, but like Jalen Brunson, Trae Young, Luka Doncic. I think LeBron has done it this year. Nikola Jokic has done it. The list is just a bunch of really, really good players. Like
Elite.
that's the level that Malik Monk can reach. And when he reaches that level, and again, I don't think he's not going to go average 30. That's not what I'm trying to say here.
Mm-hmm.
But if there is a world where Malik Monk can harness that, I don't want to say energy, can harness whatever he had last night, where he is a definitive number 2 scoring option. De'Aaron Fox doesn't have it tonight. Well, here's Malik Monk. Mm-hmm. De'Aaron Fox out for this game. Here's Malik Monk. And you're not going to miss a beat. If they're getting the version of Malik Monk that they got last night, and again, whether he's scoring 17 points or 37, I think they are way, way harder to beat.
Oh, I totally agree.
And it's just not, we talked about the pecking order thing a while back. Who's the Kings pecking order? It's Fox 1, Monk 2. In terms of get them the ball, go get a basket.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you need a basket, it's those 2.
Yeah. And and again, maybe he goes and has 6 points on 1 of 10 in their next game.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know that you're getting some level of the Malik Monk they got last night, that again, as we talk trade deadline, for me, changes the calculus of, oh, hey, okay, maybe maybe the player you go get, maybe you're getting a 2 guard. Let's just say a 2 guard
Mhm.
because that position's in shambles right now. Maybe you go get a starting 2 guard. That 2 guard now doesn't need to be DeJounte Murray. It doesn't need to be a guy who can go create his own shot.
No, I mean, that's why in all honesty, it makes Kevin Huerter extremely expendable at this point because
Yeah.
it's not just Chris Duarte that can start. You can start Keon Ellis. You might be able to start Colby Jones. Like
Yeah.
maybe after the All-Star break, maybe there's a possibility that you could start Colby Jones and have him play 16 to 18 minutes. Maybe even some nights he'll play 24 when he's got it defensively, when he's making the right moves.
Mhm.
Some nights he won't. But you can start that type of player at the 2 as long as you have Monk coming in off the bench to do the other things.
Mhm.
I think where you have problems is you have to have somebody else that can play with Monk and someone who's defensive minded and they can
Yeah.
take on some of that, whether that's Davion or whether it's one of these other players that we're already talking about.
Mhm.
But like, I think there has to be a blend there, but it does make what's happening at the starting 2 like much more. You can take risks there. You can go
Yeah.
with a defensive guy in Chris Duarte, or you can go with a shooter in Kevin Huerter, or you can go with some other random player. You can go with just like again, a Keon Ellis, who for me is more of just like an instigator, like a catalyst guy. You can
Mhm.
do that
Mhm.
because Malik Monk brings something different to the table.
Do you think so? My initial thought last night was as Malik is hitting his 4-3 in the third quarter. Well, Mike Brown did it right. The tough love, pull him out, get in
Yeah.
a yelling match worked. But Mike Brown said after the game that that's not all that happened. It wasn't like that happened and then they came to work the next day and Malik went, I'm going to go score 37 and show you double birds. There was some amends making, it sounds like.
Yeah. So definitely, what Mike said after the game was that following shoot around yesterday, he pulled Malik into his office and had a conversation. The first thing Mike said was, I should have coached him, which is a lot of what Damian Barling said yesterday on our show, and is what Damian said with D'Lo and KC. He said Mike Brown should not have just benched him. He should have like just had a coaching moment, right? And I agree that like there are different ways that you can handle a player.
Yeah.
But I think Mike is doing like hindsight a little bit. Like the fact that he pulled him into the office and that he apologized to Malik Monk for what happened. I'm sure Malik said, hey, look, I'm sorry too. I shouldn't have said something to you on the bench. Like the back and forth here. It's a good moment where again, it's a coaching moment. It's a teaching moment, all that stuff. I get it. But I don't agree that Mike Brown needs to say, yeah, I apologize, because that shows that Mike Brown is making sure that the media knows that we're okay. Me and Malik are okay.
Mhm.
Like he's not going to leave the Kings in free agency because of this moment in time
Sure.
where we're not friends anymore.
Sure.
Right. So Mike has to say this and to a certain degree, but I also think it's a good moment for Mike to say, yeah, okay. Could I have handled it differently? Sure. But at the same time, like Malik is a straight up hooper. Like that dude is not a workout warrior. He's not a weight room warrior. I mean, sure, he goes and does his stuff that he's supposed to do, but he's not that guy. What he is a gym rat. He is in there shooting and going crazy and playing basketball all day long. I guarantee you, if you find Malik Monk during the summer months and you're like, where's Malik Monk? You go, where's the local game?
Right.
You show up at the local game and there's Malik Monk taking people's money. That's who Malik is.
Hey,
The only way,
sorry.
but the only way for Mike, there's one thing that Malik cares about. It's not money. Sure, he wants money. It's the only thing you can do to impact Malik Monk is to take away the one thing he loves, and that is a game of basketball. That's how you do it. And, like sometimes discipline comes in different ways and you handle players differently. I get it. But at the same time, like, I don't think that there's another way to handle Malik Monk in some of these situations. And that's okay.
Do you think that Mike Brown would have, knowing what he knows now, if he could go back and redo the Charlotte game, do you think he would do anything differently?
No. Like,
I think he would.
I don't know. Like, I mean, the wins and loss matter. And Mike knows that. And he's probably very upset with himself that they lost that game and that might have been a piece to it. But let's be honest, the game wasn't won and lost in the second quarter.
No doubt. I totally agree with you. But just from you talk about Malik Monk loves basketball. I don't know Mike Brown personally, but I know people who have had extensive conversations with him and people who do know him. And Mike Brown loves coaching.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mike Brown loves to coach basketball. And so you brought up Malik Monk, and the thing you can do is you can take that away from him. I think Mike Brown probably regrets not taking that opportunity to be a coach. And I think that's what he would change. Maybe the outcome of the game doesn't change. Maybe Monk still goes out and has a bad game and goes and has a great game against the Magic. But I think that's why he would change it.
It's possible, but I would also tell you that I think in that situation, Mike was a coach. He chose a path. And I think that path that he took, like, it's okay. Like,
sit his ass down and yell at him?
Well, no, because from what I know, the exchange had happened afterwards when Mike came over in the third quarter and he came over and said something to Malik and then said, okay, we're done. Let's cool down. He goes to walk away and Malik said something to him again. And that's when Mike came back and then Jordi Fernandez stepped in. Like, that whole situation could have been de-escalated. The first half, that 5 minutes where he plays 5 minutes, I don't know, like, everyone is raised differently, right? So I had a situation where, we had to give a kid a ride to school one day. And we get, me and my son were driving. We stop by, my son's sitting next to me in the car. We stop by, we pick this kid up. He gets in the back seat and instantly starts telling us a story about how him and his sister were clowning his mom that morning. And she wanted him to do something. And they're just like, yeah, we're not doing that. And he just kept going on this story. And I look over at my son and my son's already looking at his friend. And he goes, hey, you should probably stop telling that story. And I just look at my son. He goes, and I'm like, okay. He's like, and I'm like, okay. And he goes, that's not how we treat my mom in my house. And I was like, oh. And it's like, that's right. That's not how you treat your mom.
Benched his friend
in our house. And his friend was like, oh, he's like, hey,
Sure.
dude, that's disrespectful.
Sure,
we don't treat our mom like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right. And I said, and what would happen if you did? And my son's like, then I'd have to deal with you.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, exactly. You'd have to deal with me, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay. And his friend shut up right there. Like, oh, okay. Not inappropriate. So my point is that, like, each kid is, like, raised differently. They have different things. But I will continue to say the one thing that you can do that would make Malik Monk feel it is to take away his minutes. It's the only thing you can do. Outside of that, I don't know. Because that's who he is. It's how he's raised. It's like what is in him. And so I don't think Mike Brown did anything wrong there. We could talk. There are plenty of things that Mike Brown probably wants to revisit in the last year of coaching, and whether it's like his handling of Kevin Huerter, or it's how he deals with his big man rotation, whatever it is.
Sure,
there are plenty of things that Mike Brown has done that he probably can second guess. That moment, I'm all right with it, because the next game, that dude went out and scored 37 points and grabbed and dished out 9 assists and helped you win another ball game where you gave up 25 threes and you just didn't have it. And somehow you came out on top, and it was because you did some tough love and it worked with that kid, and good for you.
I love when Malik Monk just goes into bucket getting mode.
Yeah.
It's so fun. He had a guy. I wish I start writing this stuff down. I try and text you like some thoughts and notes that I want to remember. And the exact time of this, I forget. I think it was either fourth quarter or the first OT, but Monk at one point, he stand at the top of the key and just put the ball on the deck and got a blow by for an easy layup.
Yeah.
And I think I get so enamored. My favorite thing about Malik Monk is the audacity of some of the threes he takes.
I love it.
A guy in his face, a little sidestep, hand in the face, take a three. Falling out of bounds towards the baseline, I got to put it up anyway. Like I love that part of his game. That I forget how explosive he can be with that first step. And And the variety of ways he scored last night, like, yeah, the 5 threes in the second quarter were great. And 7 of 13 from 3, you will take that from any player on any night. 90% of NBA players will never do that in their career.
Yeah.
Like, you love that. But the amount of times they needed a basket last night, and it was Malik Monk getting to the rack and not trying to do too much. I was not only just the numbers in the box score, but just the way he kind of managed the game down the stretch was, especially with De'Aaron Fox struggling to put the ball in the hoop.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I think, maybe even more impressive than the numbers.
Yeah, and that's why, again, you don't want to take away who Monk is as a player, right? You don't want to sit there and try to, like, put him in a box. That's not whatever you do with Malik Monk from here on out, you have to let Malik be who he is on the court. But when something's not right and the level of play or the energy or you can see it, like as Mike can see it as a coach, there's something he saw that he did not like about what Malik was doing on the court. And you can't pull Malik aside and say, hey, I need you to use the screen better. That's not what we're talking about. You can't take away who he is. You have to let him be who he is on the court. But there are times where he doesn't have who he is, and you need to regulate. And I get it. So, hey, I just saw Jesse. He's a twinsie.
He's rocking the Insider's hoodie?
That's right.
Come on.
Let's
Let's go. He's got the blue version.
I would love it if D'Lo and Casey just happened to show up wearing the same hoodie.
I think D'Lo wore an Insider's hoodie yesterday. I'd be stunned if we got back-to-back days of Insider hoodies from D'Lo. He is the one friend I have who I don't think would wear the same thing 2 days in a row.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think all of my other friends, I could be like, I could see that. Also, here on January 4th, please clap. I have Jesse's Christmas present for him.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody else got theirs the Friday before we left for the break.
That's right. Jesse's was in the mail.
Jesse's was literally in my mailbox while we were doing a show.
Oh.
Tough look for your boy. But hey, it's here today, and I finally brought it with me. I've had it since then, and I finally brought it with me. I wrapped it today. Shout out to our promotion staff down there, Megan and Jackie, for hooking me up with the wrapping paper.
Yeah.
We're all set. Anyways.
Awesome.
I'm excited for Jesse to open that. And I'm excited to get to our second hour, which is where we're headed next. Malik Monk was great last night. Domantas Sabonis was great last night. But I think Keegan Murray played his best game of the year last night. And I'll tell you why next on ESPN 1320.
All right. Oh, that's spectacular. The Indiana Pacers put out a clip of Bill Kennedy sitting there doing one of his spectacular.
Oh, he's very, very good at it.
But over his shoulder is Tyrese Halliburton, like dipping into the back of his picture.
That's great.
Yeah. It's amazing. What's going on, Chatty House? Loki, I don't know. Maybe like Dorian Finney-Smith is a good defender. I'm gonna say he's on the downswing though of being like an elite defender, and I don't even know if he was ever like fully an elite defender. He's a 3-and-D guy. I think the fact that you have Monk, you have Fox, and you have Domas, and like maybe that would work.
Dorian Finney-Smith, to me, is the kind of guy that there are 50 of in the league.
Yeah.
Like he's
the problem
fine.
is the Kings never have
how
one.
Good he is.
That's the problem. Like I get what you're saying there, and if Dorian Finney-Smith costs like a 2nd-round pick or 2 second-round picks, then oh yeah, I'm all in. Gary Trent, on the other hand, I like Gary Trent. He's a scorer for sure. I don't know if you need more scorers, but I do like him. He's not a huge dude, and he's a free agent at the end of the year.
15 seconds. Here we go.
All right.
Big Kings win last night. That's what we're talking about. I'm Kyle. That's James. We're hanging out with you until noon. Then we will hand it off to D'Lo and KC, and they'll rock with you from noon to 4 right here on Sacramento's sports leader. I think that Keegan Murray last night played his best game of the year. And that is with every ounce of due respect to his 47-point game where he hit 12 3-pointers. Incredible game.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a blowout win over the Jazz, in part because Keegan had such a remarkable outing. But last night, he scores 28 points, his second highest total of the year, by the way. He scores 28 points.
Okay.
He grabs 12 rebounds, including, I believe, 6
in the double overtime.
In the second overtime?
Second overtime.
Just in the second overtime.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, he had the 4 offensive rebounds that led to 3 buckets, 7 points, including his huge 3 that tied the game at 135 late in the second overtime. He was everywhere. He was good defensively. The Magic hit some ridiculous shots last night, but he was good enough defensively. I thought he was extremely impactful. And on a night where, and this is what I have wanted from Keegan Murray all year, this is the kind of growth I want to see from him. On a night where De'Aaron Fox doesn't have it, and Domantas Sabonis is not a player that you're like, yeah, hey, we're going to dump it into you in the post and you're going to go get a bucket, or hey, you're going to make it rain from 3 now. He's not a primary scorer. And Malik Monk is going off. De'Aaron Fox is getting his field goal attempts, but he's not making them. Keegan Murray finishes with 21 field goal attempts, the second most on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes 13 of them. And he scores 28. He has his 12 boards. I was really, really impressed with Keegan Murray last night. We've asked for hustle. We have asked for, hey, go get a rebound. Somebody go impact winning in some way. And outside of Malik Monk, I don't think anybody on the Kings impacted winning more than Keegan Murray did last night.
I agree 100%. When it comes to the ways that you can impact a game, I'm going to give Chris Duarte a little bit of props here. Chris Duarte has a horrible game, throwaway game, right?
Jesus.
No, he did. He did. He had a horrible game, but the night before.
I'm going to give Chris Duarte some props. Had a horrible game.
Okay, but stick with me here, Kyle.
Okay. I'm here.
Then the night before, he went out and got 7 rebounds, including 4 offensive rebounds and 3 putbacks because he was active and he crashed.
Yes.
All of a sudden, you're seeing Keegan Murray go, oh, that's what they mean. I get it.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Like,
Mm-hmm.
He was impactful. He was all over the place. He was attacking.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Kings need. And he figured it out. And I also think there's something about him playing Banchero. There's something about him playing Chet Holmgren, all of those things. Like, he's going to step it up. Like, I expect that when the Detroit Pistons come into roll through town, the Kings hit Detroit on the first game of their road trip, right? I expect him to put on a show for Jaden Ivey. Like, I do. Because
you think Jaden Ivey is going to be the reason that Keegan Murray lights it up against the Pistons?
Well, no.
And not that the Pistons are ass?
Yeah, it's probably going to be because the Pistons are not good. But I would also tell you that the way that that he was treated on draft night, where, they did the top 5 picks, except for Keegan Murray wasn't there. And so instead of having the top 4 picks, they had the top 3 picks and Jaden Ivey pictures.
That's nuts, dude.
The fact that, on draft night, they used a picture of Chris Murray and not Keegan Murray as the picture that they ran when he was drafted. Like, these things, like, Keegan Murray does feel something. Like, even though he keeps a straight face, he does feel something. And he does not like the way that, like, draft and the way that he's been considered and all that stuff. He wants to prove people wrong, just like anyone else would. So I don't think it's any coincidence that he put up 28 points and 12 rebounds against Paolo Banchero, even though Banchero was nuts too. He was crazy good.
He was really, really good.
Yeah, he was.
My podcast co-host, who will remain nameless, was at the game last night. And he texted me. I had the same thought. And I think you mentioned this earlier too. I was totally under the impression that Paolo Banchero was like 6'8".
No.
But my man is an easy 6'10". He's huge. And shot the heck out of it last night.
Yeah,
did the rest of the match.
He's a big, I mean, we're not talking about a 6'10", like 215.
Yeah, no, he is.
No. He's a big dude.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I would say like
unit.
if I had to guess, I would say 245. Like he's a big man. What he looks like to me on the court is just a bigger Carmelo. Yeah, I mean, he's just a bigger Carmelo.
Carmelo's, I know you're not making a direct comparison, but he does not have the offensive bag, though. Carmelo's bag was crazy.
Well, no, he is, but like Paolo will get there. Paolo will be a 25 to 30 point game per game
I'm
scorer.
all in on Paolo.
Yeah.
You averaged 20 in your rookie season.
Oh, yeah. No, he's impressive. And like I said during the draft, Paolo will win the rookie of the year. I thought, like, without any problems.
Mm-hmm.
But then on top of that, he'll probably be the best player from the draft for the first 3 years. After the first 3 years, all bets are off. Like, I don't know if Keegan will reach higher heights. I don't know if Chet Holmgren will get there.
Chet's pretty good.
Yeah, no, Chet is. Yeah, but and even Jabari, like, you don't know, like, the players around him that are getting Jaden Ivey, Benedict Mathurin, all these players, they have an opportunity to be really, really good players. But Paolo's going to walk in the league and be like, oh, I'm a bucket.
Yeah.
And it's just, does it equate to winning? And right now it does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they're building something there for sure.
Yeah, Orlando's fun.
Yeah.
That was fun, man. I was bummed that the Wagners were both out last night. Both got banged up last night.
Well, Mo was in.
He only played like 5 minutes.
Oh.
Didn't he?
You know, it's possible it was just a bad matchup. I don't know.
I'm sorry, he played 13 minutes.
The play where he got a foul call when he went over the back of JaVale McGee.
Only played 5.
Yeah, Franz rolled his ankle. Paolo's listed at 6'10", 250. That's a legit 6'10", 250.
That's one of my favorite football phrases that they use on a broadcast is he is 6'6", 250, and he is every bit of 6'6", 250. Like, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. He's not a fake ass 6'6", 250.
Yeah.
No, Paolo was good last night. I think that's interesting though, because I think De'Aaron has a little bit of the same thing where when he goes up against a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or a Devin Booker or a Luka Doncic or a Kyrie Irving or whoever it is, he wants to go make sure that he's the best player on the court that night.
Oh, I totally agree.
And I think there's something with Keegan's demeanor that I just would not have put that on him. But you have to be a little bit of a competitive psycho to be in the NBA.
Yeah.
Whether you show it outwardly or not. And that's interesting. I'm fascinated to see if that is the case because, I think the Kings are going to beat Detroit regardless. And if Keegan Murray has a good game, fine. But I'm interested to see if he has like a 30-point game against Detroit.
Yeah. No, I think it's interesting. If you look at Fox, the way that he's handled like the 4 guys that were drafted above him, first of all, Josh Johnson was a quick burnout. Markelle Fultz, same thing. I mean, like but every time De'Aaron Fox faced Lonzo Ball, it was like, all right, game on, man.
I loved the bit in 2018? Was he 2018 draft or 2017?
17.
27. The 2017 tournament, like starting there.
Oh,
was it Lonzo was always ducking De'Aaron Fox?
Well, that I think he dropped 39 on
Lonzo
in
torched
the
UCLA.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think Lonzo like missed all their preseason games and then missed the first regular season game or something like that. I don't know. It was a fun bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, I'm having a tough time today because I don't want to get like it was a very, very nice win and one that you need to go get because you lose that game, especially after you're up double digits. Like now things could potentially spiral and now you're in a bad spot. Now the vibes are bad. So it's a good win, but nothing changed for me with where I think this team's at. Like it was really great. And Malik Monk goes out and has an awesome game and Keegan Murray goes out and has an awesome game. Domantas Sabonis continues his tear and they win a game where De'Aaron Fox doesn't play well. Like that's all well and good. That's fantastic. You love to see it, but it doesn't for me erase Charlotte or
Yeah.
all the other like weird bad losses they have. It's hard for me to I would like to see this become, hey, that was that first step. De'Aaron Fox has talked about consistency. Mike Brown has talked about their consistency. We on this radio station and in the chatty house talked about the Kings' consistency, how maddening it is, all these peaks and valleys. And it's hard for me to look at last night, and it's really fun in the moment, but then trying to zoom out and go big picture with it. It's really hard to not go, okay, well, why is this not just another peak?
Mm-hmm.
How do we know that there's not a valley coming tomorrow?
Well, yeah.
And that's kind of the next step in this team's evolution for me.
No, I'm with you, Kyle. You have a winnable game against Toronto. Toronto is not playing well. You've got a game against New Orleans here on Sunday.
Huge.
Like, can you get right against a team that you're competing with? Like, that team should not dominate you every single time you play them.
Yep.
And that's, again, it's not okay for you to not figure that out. Like, you have to show that you can make adjustments against a good team. But then you go on the road and it starts like, you can't slip up against Detroit. You can't slip up against Charlotte. Like, because once you get past those two, it's Philly, it's Milwaukee, it's Phoenix to finish the trip. Like, those are games where you really have to start to lock in and show that you are the team that everyone thinks that you can be.
Mm-hmm.
And, they got to 7 games over 500 again last night, right? Like, this team they should be 9 games over 500. They should not have dropped a game. They should be, I think, 11 games over 500 if they don't lose the Portland game. That's where they should be at this point. They should be at 22 and 11, 11 games over 500 if they don't have the 2 slip-ups. And you don't have to be perfect, but you can't lose that type of game. And I think that was the hallmark of last season. It was like such a staple. Like, this team does not have bad losses. This team does have bad losses this year. They got to figure that one out.
If they were 22 and 11, they would be in the 4th seed.
Yeah.
By a game.
They would be pacing for what, 54 wins.
And instead they are tied with, them and New Orleans, they're a half game up on New Orleans. They're tied with New Orleans, 4 games back of the 1 seed and a game out of the play-in. Like, it is, they cannot continue stacking bad losses. And that's why last night's win, like, again, trying to zoom out big picture, regardless of peaks, valleys, et cetera, you needed to go get that one last night.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Real quick pin in the Kings, because we had some 49ers related news yesterday as pertains to who's playing on Sunday against the Rams, who's not. And then the 49ers have a gang of Pro Bowlers. Led the NFL in Pro Bowlers, but their number of alternates is even crazier. We'll talk about all that next on The Insiders, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Dude, somebody put in that, thank God I'm not the Kings GM. And that's facts, bro. I am way too reactionary to be a GM.
Oh.
I am dude, I would be, without question, the worst GM in any league I stepped into. Having nothing to do with my lack of experience. Like, let's just say I was qualified. My personality would make it really tough to be a GM.
I think
I'd be in there like, you know what? Hey, that guy's ass. Trade him right now.
Yeah. I get that. I don't know. I would love to have taken that path, because I dig all of the dynamics of trades and salary cap and everything else. I love having conversations off the record, on the record, about all kinds of different things that are, I love that aspect where you're like, okay, I don't know. I might be too much. I wouldn't, maybe a little too neurotic and make too many phone calls to a team trying to get a deal done. But at the same time, I
Oh, that's the other thing, is I would super, super anchor to my draft takes.
Oh.
I would just be convinced that every player I thought was good coming out of the draft was still good, even if they have a history of being bad in the NBA.
No, I would not. I'm okay with moving away quick.
We haven't done player of the game.
No, we haven't.
Hey, chatty house, spoiler alert, it's Malik Monk.
Yeah. Somebody asked, I don't know why Mike decided to go JaVale McGee over Alex Lynn last night. I think Alex Lynn has played really well, and I would not have gone JaVale McGee over Alex Lynn. I don't know if that's matchup driven or something, but I'm not sure what matchup that works out for you. Tyler Griner, this is a good question. Would Malik take a 1+1?
Let's answer it on the other side.
Okay.
We got 8 seconds. Hey, you know what time it is? It's 11:16. Hey, before we talk 49ers Pro Bowl stuff, want to remind everybody that we are giving away a $100 Jiffy Lube gift certificate after each and every Kings game this year, courtesy of the homies over at Jiffy Lube. I need to go to Jiffy Lube, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a car. My car is due for a service. I'm also pushing 250,000 miles. So it is imperative that my car gets serviced.
Okay.
And I'll be taking it to Jiffy Lube.
That's right. You should take it to Jiffy Lube.
I'm going to. I cannot, unfortunately, win this $100 gift certificate. The good news is you can, and it's super easy to enter. You're going to go to ESPN1320.com.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to click on the Jiffy Lube logo. It's front and center. You can't miss it. You click on that. You're going to enter the code word Monk. M-O-N-K. I think Malik Monk was just our player of the game a couple games ago.
Yeah.
Against Memphis, but he earned the hell out of another one, and I don't feel bad giving it to him. As good as Keegan Murray was, as good as Domantas Sabonis was, Malik Monk was the Kings' star player last night. So he is our Jiffy Lube Fast Break player of the game. Just go to ESPN1320.com, click on the Jiffy Lube logo, and enter the code word Monk, M-O-N-K, to enter to win a $100 Jiffy Lube gift certificate.
Mm-hmm.
Our guy Manny in the chatty house won one.
I know, like all kinds of people in Chatty House have won one.
He hit me up. He was like, "Hey, is this the email I was supposed to get?" I was like, "Yep, congrats, man."
Awesome.
Yeah, good.
All right.
Yeah, shout out. All right. There was a good question in the Chatty House. Speaking of that, about Malik Monk that I want to get to in a minute.
Okay.
But the Pro Bowl rosters were announced last night.
Yep.
For anybody who gives a damn. And I'm having a harder and harder time. Like, I've never really cared about the Pro Bowl, but at least it's always been like, hey, you know what? That guy was a 6-time Pro Bowler. That means something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm beginning to think it means less and less, and I'll tell you why in a second. But the 49ers had 9 Pro Bowlers.
That's crazy.
No major surprises. Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Fred Warner, Charvarius Ward, and Trent Williams. All 9 of those guys very deserving, in my opinion. Is the 8th consecutive Pro Bowl for Kyle Juszczyk. Oof. He has the most Pro Bowls ever for a fullback. It helps that he's been one of the only fullbacks in the league that gets used for the last,
Is
decade.
he a Hall of Famer?
No.
8 Pro Bowls? I'm just saying.
No. If Lorenzo Neal's not in the Hall of Fame, Kyle Juszczyk's not in the Hall of Fame.
No, that's true.
All due respect, like Kyle Juszczyk is great, and he is very helpful for the 49ers. I don't.
I'm just putting it out there. I'm just like, because in the NBA world, 8
you're an 8-time All-Star. You're in there.
Yeah, but that also means you're one of the top 24 players in the league.
Everybody makes a Pro Bowl. Mac Jones has a Pro Bowl.
Oh, I think I made the Pro Bowl one year.
No, congrats.
Yeah.
I'm an alternate this year.
Okay.
Just my first time. We're crossing our fingers for an injury. We're not doing that. Not an injury. We're crossing our fingers that there's an absence because the team went to the Super Bowl.
There you go.
We don't root for injuries. Hopefully everybody's healthy. 12 alternates for the 49ers.
That's wild.
Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. Okay, fine. Dre Greenlaw. Yep. Okay, not having a great year, but fine. Deommodore Lenoir having a pretty good year. Okay. Aaron Banks. All right, sure. Their left guard. Jake Brendel, Colton McKivitz, Tabor Pepper, Mitch Wishnowsky, and Chase Young. All alternates. If something goes horribly awry for the 49ers and they wind up not going to the Super Bowl where their guys can go participate in the Pro Bowl games, and if there is a highly unlikely, nigh impossible, but not off the table world where they could conceivably send 21 players to the Pro Bowl.
That's wild. But here's the reverse, though.
Ideally, like I said, they'd send 0, but
If the 49ers go to the Pro Bowl, you got to come up with all these replacements and replacements to the replacements because
if
half
they go to
their
the
team is a
Super Bowl.
replacement. Yeah, if they do
Yeah.
go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a mess.
Yeah, they'd have to 9 alternates, of which maybe their own guys are alternates.
Yeah,
You get some weird ass Pro Bowlers this year.
that'd be weird.
So Antoine Winfield Jr. This is one quick gripe I have about the Pro Bowl. Antoine Winfield Jr. for the Bucs is maybe he is in the discussion for best defensive back in the league this year, period. Like safety, cornerback, whatever. He is that good. He tackles, he rushes the passer, he can cover, he can play in the slot. He does everything.
Yep.
He's generating turnovers. The Bucs are a win away from being a playoff team. They need to beat Carolina in Carolina to make the playoffs. Like he is not a Pro Bowler.
Is he an alternate?
I'm sure he's probably an alternate.
Yeah. I saw this discussion
that is akin to like Domantas Sabonis not being an all-star.
Okay.
And he's not in the top 10 in fan voting, as we noted earlier.
Yeah, I know. You hope he doesn't get snubbed. He would be a huge oof.
You cannot have a legitimate all-star game. And we're not there yet. There's coach voting, there's player voting.
Yeah.
I think Domas eventually gets in.
Yep.
But if he doesn't, I don't know how you have a center who's averaging damn near a triple-double and you're not putting him in your showcase of the league's best player. But again, I'm going to save that complaint until he's not in.
Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, to me, he's a full-fledged all-star and an all-NBA player. And not only that, but the other thing, I think he'll this will be his 4th. He's like 1 or 2 away from like really solid Hall of Fame resume.
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
All right, let's. You had that question. Did you star it in the chat, or do you have it up ready to go?
I didn't start.
No, boy, rookie mistake.
I do know the question though.
Okay, so this is a question in the chatty house at the break, and if you're not familiar, at youtube.com/ESPN1320, twitch.tv/ESPN1320. During the breaks, we typically, sometimes we are doing other stuff, but we typically just hang out and answer questions and talk in the chatty house. So if you want to hop in and do that, maybe you're listening on your way into work, and when you get to work, you want to hop on YouTube or Twitch and hang out with us, please do that. The chatty house is a great spot to kick it. And a really good question came across.
Yeah. The question is whether or not Malik Monk could sign a 1-and-1 deal. A 1-and-1 deal is basically a 2-year contract with the second year being either a player or a team option. And there we go. So this way, so the weird thing about the NBA, if you're with the team for 3 years, after your 3rd year, you have what are called Larry Bird rights. It's how, again, like Larry Bird, they were able to circumvent the salary cap, sign Larry Bird for a much larger contract because he had been with the team for so long, right? If you're with the team for 2 years, the only thing you can sign is early bird rights, right? And early bird rights we've seen with Trey Lyles, we've seen with Rashawn Holmes in the past. This year, Malik Monk's early bird rights are a little different. Go ahead.
Pause real quick.
Yes.
So it's early bird as in early Larry Bird rights, not early bird as in like the early bird special.
No,
early
it's
bird
early with a capital B, B-I-R-D. Yes.
Huh.
So bird rights are Larry Bird rights. That's the full term. And early bird are early.
Your bird rights early.
Yes. Your bird rights early.
I don't know that I knew that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that I knew that. Huh. Okay, great.
Yeah, it's like
I probably should have made that connection, but I've just bird rights.
Yes.
That's just what they are. I've never done a deep dive on why they're called bird rights.
Yeah, it's because,
and like I said, I probably should have made that connection, but I haven't.
I think it's because you got to a certain point where they instituted a salary cap. Larry Bird was aging, but you wanted to pay him more than what you could have. And so they made an exception for a player who had been with the team for more than 3 years, where you can circumvent, you can go over the salary cap
right,
and sign a player to anything that you want within their years of service,
Right.
and whether they're all-stars or all-NBA, whatever.
Mhm.
You can sign them up to the maximum and go over the salary cap. So you're at 80 million and the salary cap's at 100 million, but you have a guy on your roster that's worth 30. You can go that $10 million over the cap to retain your own player.
Got it.
Got it. So then there's an early bird right. So the early bird is when you've only been with the team for 2 years. And this is partially the Kings, partially Malik Monk. Someone decided that Monk, they signed him to what's called a mid-level exception. And the mid-level exception can be up to 4 years, the MLE. It's like, it's right. And it can be up to 4 years. And every year, as long as you're not a taxpayer team, you get a mid-level exception. So this coming offseason, the Kings will get a mid-level exception, which is up to like $12 million now. When Malik signed his, it was 11 point something, but they actually had carved out a small contract, a $1.6 million contract out of the mid-level to give to Sasha, and then Sasha turned them down and stayed overseas. But the reason why you would give him that deal is a normal NBA contract can't be for 4 years. And they're trying to give Sasha a 4-year contract starting at 1.6 million that would go up, right? So anyway, it's a little complex, but the question in hand is, could you give Malik Monk like a 1-and-1 deal where it's a 2-year contract, but the second is like, say, a player option. And then he can opt out of the player option after 1 year, and all of a sudden he has his Larry Bird rights. The answer is yes, you can do that, but there's going to be limitations because even the early bird rights, I believe that they have to be a minimum of 2 years for an early bird contract. And so it just makes it a little more complex. I could probably answer it better after I read something really quick during the break. And then, Kyle, there's one other question I wanted to hit. Somebody asked if I know why Fox lets the ball roll up the court before grabbing it, even when they're up. There's a very specific reason. The shot clock doesn't start until
great chance for a tease.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine. We
can get to it after the break.
Real quick.
No, we can get to it. Okay. If the shot clock doesn't start until a player touches the ball, but the regular clock in the game keeps running.
Right.
So he's burning seconds off the regular clock when they're up. And then he can burn 8-10 seconds as he's walking with the ball, just like surrounding. And then when he picks it up, now he has a full shot clock.
It's called walking the dog.
Yeah. He's burning clock is what he's doing. And
without burning the shot clock.
And then he's also trying to get the ball up as close as he can in mid-court. So when he crosses over, he has a bunch of time on the shot clock. So that's why.
I have good news for everybody.
Oh.
Well, maybe not everybody, but I'm guessing for most people listening in Sacramento. The Los Angeles Lakers are in shambles. We'll talk about it next on ESPN 1320.
That's funny. Good tease.
Thanks.
That's much better tease than.
Dude, I thought you were. I thought you were setting it up. I was about to be so proud.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's okay.
I looked at the clock. I'm like, oh, I got a little bit of time. Hey, look at that. Colby Jones has been assigned to the Stockton Kings. And again, that's a technicality that I think people might continue to wonder why exactly that happens. And why don't they tell us every time Jordan Ford or Jalen Slauson or Keon Ellis? And it's because those guys are two-way players, and Colby Jones is on the regular roster. So they actually have to tell us when they're shipping him to and from. It's part of the league rules. They do not have to tell us when two-way players are being moved between the two rosters. It's on the injury report. It tells us that what players are available. So there might be, again, Jordan Ford, Jalen Slauson, and Keon Ellis might show up on the injury report as not with team G League assignment. But Colby Jones doesn't show up on the injury report. He does show up on, they have to tell us. They have to basically press release it every time. And when it goes back and forth like this, they don't press release anymore. They just send a tweet to us, and then I copy and paste it because I think it's funny. Is that all right? Everyone got that?
Yeah, because the Kings PR account is locked, right?
Yeah, it's locked.
That's
Yeah.
all right.
Yes. Also, like the Stepien rule. That's another one that people are like, what is the Stepien rule? That's where you can't trade back-to-back first-round picks. And there's all kinds of like things built into that. But the Stepien rule is named after a general manager, I think, from the Washington Bullets, who just like, screw this, and went all in and traded all of his picks. I trade all the picks, slide them into the middle of the table. They're like, okay, let's not allow that to happen anymore. Somebody who got fired just traded away the entire franchise future just because.
Dude, that's another reason I'd be a bad GM. On my way out, or if I knew, like, dude, to hell with that. If I'm sitting there at the trade deadline and I know that my ass is on the hot seat, I'm going all in. Like, I don't care. I am pulling every possible lever. And if I hose the team for the next 10 years, then so be it.
Okay.
Like, I'm out of here anyway. And if this works, then I buy myself some time and I can figure out the drafts that I butchered and figure that out later. It's so weird because Kevin Clark is a podcaster I really like over at ESPN. A friend of the show. He's been on the show before. He always talks about how like being a GM or head coach is just about keeping your job. Like everything is about doing whatever you can to keep your job.
Okay.
And I think that's so interesting. Because it's kind of like, I guess that's the case at every job, but it feels like there's a lot of teams or a lot of coaches and GMs that play things super conservatively because it's like, well, if I don't do this thing, then maybe we don't win a title, but I buy myself 5 years. Whereas if I do this thing and it doesn't work, then I'm fired. I don't know.
Okay, minimum years, maximum
Brock
years.
Purdy saved a couple jobs in San Francisco. That's what I'm saying. All right, 5 seconds. Here we go. And final segment of the show, D'Lo and KC coming up next. We're the Insiders. I'm Kyle. That's James. Talking a ton about the Kings' double overtime win over the Magic last night. Good win. Really good win. You don't love that the Magic shot 25 of 44 from 3.
Yeah.
But I think the Kings did the right thing.
It was by design. Like the Kings took a gamble that they wouldn't hit 25 threes. If they hit 26, you lose. So we just figured out like what the formula is if you're going to stop Orlando in that situation.
Well, yeah, I said it before yesterday. I went, this is the team that shoots like the second fewest threes in the league, and they make them at the lowest clip. So if they're going to go make a bunch of threes and beat you, then you tip your cap.
Yeah, 10.1 threes per game, I think is what they made before last night.
And then they bang home 25 of them in 2 OT.
Yeah, just wild.
Just bananas. They are now shooting. They were 33.4% going into the night. They are now at 34.4%. They raised their average 10 points in one night.
Oof. 1 point.
Yeah, they're still 28th in the league.
34.
And they're 28th in the league in 3-point attempts and 29th in 3-pointers made.
Well, either way, it's a tough gamble. But if you look at the players who hit threes, like you cannot predict that those players would hit threes. And I don't even think that they were wide open. Some of them were. You sagged off of them though, and made sure you double team Paolo all the time. And then when they had to make the adjustment, you saw why. Paolo just goes crazy.
Yeah.
Like Paolo I think he got hurt and went into the locker room at one point. I think his own teammate like hit knee to knee or something. He goes in the locker room, comes back out. And at that point he had 16 points. And then he ends up with what, 37?
43.
43. Oh my goodness.
37 was Malik.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 43 points. He was 6 of 9 from 3. Nice. 13 of 25 from the field. 4 boards, 5 assists, 8 turnovers. Still figuring it out.
Yeah.
No, he was, man.
He was really good.
Really good.
I
Really
mean,
good
even
play.
his final shot to push it to overtime in the regulation,
Mhm.
that was crazy. There were 3 Kings draped
I thought
all
there was no
over him.
chance. I thought there was no chance I was going.
All over him,
Yeah.
and just rose up and hit a big shot. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a talented scorer.
Yeah. That's one of those games though that like difference between regular season and postseason, right? Because the Magic do that and they just happen to have their one-off game where they hit 25 threes against the Kings. If they were in a playoff series, the Kings are playing the Magic in the playoff series. I guess it'd be in the finals. The Kings are playing the Magic in the finals. And they do that in game 1. You feel great about the rest of the series. You're like, hey, they're going to come back down to earth and it's going to take them a couple games to get right. So mark down a couple of wins based on that. Anyways.
All right.
The Lakers are in shambles. You'll be shocked to find out that The Athletic is reporting. Quote, this is from Shams Charania earlier this morning. There's currently a growing disconnect between Darvin Ham and Lakers locker room stemming from disjointedness around rotation and adjustments. Shocking that LeBron James' team is upset with the head coach because of adjustments and rotations.
I thought it was LeBron James who really pushed the envelope on hiring Darvin Ham.
I have no idea. I assume it's LeBron James pushing the envelope on everything there. But
I unplugged there for a sec.
But what's Darvin Ham supposed to do here? Like the Lakers signed all these dudes expecting, hey, if you get peak Christian Wood and you get peak Jackson Hayes, and if Austin Reeves takes this huge leap, and hey, look at what D'Angelo Russell can do, and who's that? Taurean Prince, man, Taurean Prince, look at what he can do from the outside. If he has a great year, like they were, in theory, the Lakers roster was really good. But in practice, it has not been. And Gabe Vincent, another addition who can shoot it, he's been banged up. But it's like, this to me is not a Darvin Ham problem.
No.
I just think the Lakers aren't very good. And maybe it's both. Like, porque no los dos, right? Maybe it's both.
This is not a Darvin Ham issue. I mean,
like
it's
it might
possible.
be.
Like,
I'm not locked into the Lakers rotations enough to know for sure that there's something way out of whack with their rotations, but I don't look at their roster and I don't look at the Lakers when I watch them and go, oh man, this is a super talented team that is just being poorly managed.
Okay. So last year, right, when we're going into the season, and I thought that everyone thought that the Kings were going to compete for like an 8, 9, 10 spot. Right. No question.
Mm-hmm.
I said on the air multiple times, I wrote it, I like the Kings' chances better than both the Lakers and the Portland Trailblazers because those were the 2 teams that you thought that they would really be competing for. I like their chances better because Mike Brown is a more seasoned veteran head coach. Before I watched him coach one single game for the Sacramento Kings.
Mm-hmm.
He understands the game better and is more prepared to ride out a bad situation than either Chauncey Billups or Darvin Ham. This is not a knock on those guys. They've got learning to do. The fact that Darvin Ham was able to correct that team and get them all the way to the Western Conference Finals, okay, good for you, right? That's fine. But that doesn't change the fact that Darvin Ham is an inexperienced head coach still. And Mike Brown is in his 10th season as an NBA head coach with a 616 win percentage or something crazy like that. Like, this is a really good head coach. And so, yeah, is there a problem there? Okay. But like for years, LeBron James has been able to handpick who's going to lead the team.
Yep.
He's been able to handpick who's going to play alongside him. And if you looked at this roster at the beginning of the year and thought that you were going to succeed with, again, D'Angelo Russell, Jackson Hayes, Christian Wood, Cam Reddish, Rui Hachimura. Let's just circle those guys. Jared Vanderbilt. Let's throw him in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Which of those guys has ever led a team to victory in the playoffs? Who has ever been the reason why a team succeeds? You're taking a bunch of non-playoff guys and thinking that you can plug them in. Guys who have not proven to be winners. And like, look, maybe one or two of those guys steps up and becomes that player.
Mm-hmm.
especially playing alongside LeBron and AD. But there are a lot of players out there that you could have gone out and got that are like way more proven, way more proven.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. And it just seems like for years, you knew exactly the type of player you needed alongside LeBron James, and you just didn't go get it.
Yeah.
Like, good luck with that.
Yeah. Taurean Prince right now shooting 39% from three.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very good number. 5.5 attempts per game. Okay, that's fine. He's averaging 10 points a game.
Yeah.
That's just not, that's not going to do it, man. Knocking down a couple threes a game is not going to get your team over the hump and into championship contention. Like, the Lakers just kind of are, I think, what their roster ultimately is. And maybe, like I said, I totally admit I have not deep diving Lakers film. And maybe Darvin Ham is leaving that team woefully short. And maybe it's Darvin Ham's fault that LeBron James and Taurean Prince at 5.5 threes a game are tied for the team lead. At attempts.
Yeah.
The Kings have 3 dudes doing more than that. Malik Monk has more 3-point attempts per game than that in 25 minutes a night. So maybe that's it. But it is just, the Lakers were a team that going into the year were people's pick to like go to the finals.
Oh yeah.
Like, smart people that I trust talking basketball had the Lakers going to the finals.
I think
now they're like 500 and they want to fire their coach.
Hey man, the Suns are still one of the odds-on favorite to go to the NBA finals, to win the NBA finals right now. And it's, again, Phoenix is 9th. They're 18-16.
Can we go ahead?
I'm just saying, like paper champ, there are no paper champions. You can't just put a roster together. And the one time that we think that the Clippers aren't going to be able to put it together, maybe they do. Like, all these times that they've been paper champions, well, maybe it is this year. But like, there are a lot of decisions that were made there. Because I did my research on Christian Wood, because I thought, hey, look, Christian Wood is a player that fits right alongside Domantas Sabonis. Yeah. And we're talking about a 6'9" guy who can shoot the three, that can block shots, that can rebound, that can get you 20 and 10. That is, the numbers are phenomenal. Everything I heard does not make winning plays at all. The numbers that you're seeing, hollow stats. And if I can get that information, like Rob Pelinka could have got that information. And
he might have gotten that information, and LeBron said, no, I want that guy.
I might have got that information from people on the Dallas Mavericks in their bubble. And that's where so that's a problem. Again, a lot of the players that they brought in are guys that look good on paper and have not been able to win. And you can't just hold that against someone forever that they're not a winner. But if you're in the last couple of years of LeBron James's of his career, like Father Time, it's undefeated. It will get him eventually.
Well, and that's kind of the thing is, early in the year, remember how good he was?
Yeah.
It's like, holy crap, is this sustainable? And it's like, no, man.
Same with Kevin Durant.
It's not.
Same with Kevin Durant gets off to this huge start. It's like, man, you can't keep playing Kevin Durant 38 minutes a game at 36 years old.
I get why sports books have the Suns as high as they do. Because if you want to go make the Suns plus 5,000, you're going to get a bunch of people hammering that and going, yeah, I'll throw $100 to win $5,000 on the Suns winning the finals. Like, yeah, for sure. Because just in case.
Yeah.
Because if Bradley Beal and Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are all healthy by April and they make the playoffs, they could absolutely go on a run and win a bunch of games.
Yeah.
But like, am I personally going to go bet on that? No.
But
I see why they're an odds-on favorite. I just don't know if anybody. Here's what I would love to do. Go round up the people who pick the Suns to go to the finals and some to win the finals. I would like to go round up those people and poll them and say, hey, pause. And say, hey,
why?
No, not why. I know why. Do you change that now? Are you going back on that pick now? Are you confident? Or are you still so confident in the Suns because it's Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, and I'm sticking by it, even though Minnesota is better, Even though Denver is better in a good sample in 30 plus games, Minnesota's better, Denver's better, Oklahoma City's better, Sacramento's better, the Clippers are better. The damn Clippers are better.
Mm-hmm.
They're like 10-0 in their last 10 with Kawhi, and then Kawhi, I guess, missed a couple games. But James Harden's playing well. The Mavericks have been better this year. Houston's been about as good as Phoenix. They were certainly better early in the year. Like, there are so many teams in the West better than Phoenix.
Yeah.
The Lakers, not one of them. The Kings are.
It's pretty crazy. Especially, you know, we're seeing the Lakers and the Warriors sitting at 17 and 18 and 16 and 17. And, you know, they're the 10 and the 11 spot right now.
Yeah.
Like, in a perfect world for all Western Conference fans, Phoenix, LA, and Golden State being the 9, 10, 11, meaning that one of those teams is out automatically. One of them loses in the play-in, and one of them has to play a second play-in game before starting a series.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a good thing for teams like the Sacramento Kings.
Oh, for sure.
Because they're still dangerous in the playoffs.
Right. And you force them to play extra minutes, all that jazz. Yeah, 1,000%. And I would be shocked. Like, if you told me right now that the Suns, Lakers, and Warriors all made the play-in, that wouldn't surprise me really at all.
Yeah.
Because I less than, I think, like Golden State clearly needs to make a move. They need to make a trade.
Yeah.
I just don't know what trade is going to be out there for them. Like, I don't know what assets they have.
They just have the giant expiring contract of Chris Paul.
And maybe a team is enamored with Kuminga or Moody, but again, they're not giving up like major assets for those two guys. So that's a separate thing. But anyways, even if all three of those teams make the play-in, I'm not sitting here going, hey, all they have to do, like, they're in the play-in because they're not playing well. And I look at them and I go, okay, so for Golden State, we're just going to stick with Golden State. They're local. For Golden State, who's currently out of the play-in, and let's see, they're a game back of the Lakers. The Lakers have played 2 more games. They have 1 more win and 1 more loss. So they're a game back of the Lakers. They would need to overtake the Lakers, Suns, Rockets, Mavericks, and Pelicans to make the playoffs.
Oh.
They have to overtake all of those teams just to make the postseason.
Oh, yeah.
And avoid a play-in.
That's wild.
And I promise they want to. Because they have a bunch of dudes in their late 30s.
Yeah, and again, I like the play-in, and I guess what the Lakers could say is, like, look, we were the 8th seed last year and we made it, right? Weren't they the 8th seed?
Yeah, they're the 8th seed and they went to the conference finals. And then Miami was the 8th seed and went to the finals.
Yeah.
But
wait, were they the 8th seed, or the Lakers were 7 seed? 7 seed. Yeah.
Miami was the 8th seed, though.
Kenny, you ready to join us?
Yeah, Kenny's getting his video loaded up. It's time for the handoff. Kenny Caraway, D'Lo and KC going to be joining us here in a moment as soon as he gets his video ready. There he is. Kenny Caraway, what's up, bro? How are you?
I'm good, man. The sun is shining. The birds are singing. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day in Sacramento, California.
My favorite thing is Kenny after a tough Kings loss, because my man brings it.
Oh,
we were throwing 100 miles an hour yesterday to open the show. And then I went out and I sat for an hour and did some extra work. And then I came back in. I left while you were like, I need more from number 40. I need more from Harrison Barnes. And I came back and you're like, I need more from number 40. I need more from Harrison Barnes.
I mean, poor Harris. Hey, man, I'm going to just keep it real. And I do feel bad because I love the guy. Harrison got his ass whooped on D'Lo and KC yesterday. I mean, we did. It was 4 straight hours, and we didn't miss an hour where we brought up Harrison Barnes. He showed up last night. You love to see it. Like I always say with Harrison, I've been saying it all year long. You just got to give me something. If it's not scoring, if you're not getting the shots that night or they're not falling, give me some rebounding. If you're not getting rebounds and you're not scoring, give me some defense. Just give me something. And last night the buckets were falling. Defensively, I mean, Paolo's a tough matchup, so it is what it is. But you know, he stepped up yesterday and made his presence felt. That's all I'm ever asking for him, is make your presence felt.
Yeah, and I think the way that he stepped up, I mean, again, we can pick apart how he was defensively, but the Kings had to make adjustments because of the made threes. They had to start like hedging towards the outside,
Yeah.
just to try to slow them down, with the thought that like there's no way these guys are going to keep hitting all these threes, but we probably should show a little bit more.
Mhm.
And they just kept hitting them, which made it more and more difficult to run a second guy at Paolo. And without Franz Wagner, that team, it was like Paolo or bust.
Right.
Can I ask a question not pertaining to the game last night? Well, not directly pertaining, but I want to ask Kenny, because Kenny, you played basketball at a reasonably high level.
Thank you.
And I see the videos. You can still play. What do you have you ever been in that situation like the Kings were last night, where you have a team or a player who you don't expect to be hitting shots that just will not stop hitting shots?
Mhm.
And two, just as a player, how does that, because I know as a fan, like watching that, it's really frustrating. It's like, do something. But then as a player, are you like, man, we need to do something? Or is it, hey, percentage, this guy's going to miss eventually?
I know, and I'll even equate that to like when I coach too, right?
And also coach at a high level.
You play the percent, well, JV high school. Assistant coach for varsity. That's about it. That's as high as it goes there. And most of the time it's just little 10, 11-year-olds, right? But I usually and Jeff Van Gundy says this, is one of you, if you have a game plan, don't overreact to a couple things going against the game plan.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, and if your game plan was the Magic aren't going to shoot the three well, they come out, I think at one point they were like 6 or 7 or something like that. You still stay with like, hey, this is the game plan. This is what you do. There does come a point in time, player, coach, where you're like, all right, tonight's not that night. Like they're not the team we scouted tonight. You know, we're going to have to make that adjustment. I thought Mike Brown did a good job of trapping Paolo in the overtimes. I think that's when he really started to do it, in the overtimes, making somebody else beat him. I would have liked to seen them do what's the big guy's name who he was on Indiana now, and
Miles Turner, Domantas Sabonis.
No,
start with a G.
Yeah,
Big man. I would have liked to seen them.
Goga?
Yeah, like not let him make a play.
Vataze?
Yeah, a couple of times.
yeah.
Paolo would pass out of the trap, give it to him, in the middle of the floor, and they would like really, fall down on him hard, and he'd kick it out to Suggs and these other guys who were hitting threes. I was like, man, just let him go one-on-one. Like, if he gets the two, he gets the two. But that's what I've liked to see. But it all worked out. I thought I'll talk about this a little bit on the show. I think I tweeted it out. I don't know. The Kings might have been down in the fourth quarter, and I tweeted out late in the fourth quarter. I was like, you know what? This is a great game. It's a great
really
game.
good basketball.
This
game.
is acceptable.
Mhm.
Like if they were to lose that game,
Yeah.
that's acceptable. That's good basketball. Orlando's playing well. They might beat you tonight, but this is acceptable. This is fine.
I totally agree.
We always hear this thing where coaches are like, look, that's an NBA team. Those are NBA players over there. They're on a roster for a reason.
Mhm.
Last night showed you that it doesn't matter who you're playing. There are some dudes out there that on one given night can just absolutely shoot. I mean, Caleb Houston, 4 of 6 from 3. Chuma Okeke goes 3 of 4 from 3. Wendell Carter, 3 of 3. Anthony Black, like half. Jalen Suggs is never. I don't think he's ever hit 6 threes in a game. And Paolo, 6 of 9.
Yeah.
Like, but that's what they're saying. If you lost that game, you lost because a team just could not miss.
Right.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
I
The vibes would have been tough today if they had lost that game, though. Especially in the second OT.
Yeah,
The vibes would have been tough.
It would have. To a certain degree, I said the same thing in my mind.
Would have killed Harrison for his defense on Paolo.
I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it alone today.
Hey, go get Kevin Huerter instead.
Oh
man.
Yeah.
I'll talk about Kevin because people were mad that he tried to dunk on old boy. Take the ball to the basket. I'm not wrong. I'm not okay with it. I don't have no problem with that.
That was an outstanding defensive play.
Yeah.
But he missed Malik Monk, who was flying down the lane ready for a circus dunk.
Yeah, true.
He was a trailer coming all by himself. All right.
Huerter's headband's got to go, Kenny. That's my big take from today.
That's a big take. All
The
right.
headband's got to go.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
What do you guys got coming up today?
Kings,
I hope so.
LeBron, All-Star voting came out, this morning. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And the vibes are good. We got Drake Bars at 12:20, man. It's
Oh,
Drake Bars game.
Drake
come on.
Drake Bars is popping off today.
59-0?
Yeah.
Drake Bars games
man.
now?
I mean, that's a guaranteed
unbelievable.
win.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Guaranteed.
I have a question for you guys to take into your show.
Okay.
Domantas Sabonis not in the top 10 of All-Star voting in the front court. How much of that is Kevin O'Connor's fault?
I mean, I don't know how much Kevin O'Connell has to play with that, but
Vikings head coach.
It's just a lot of incompetence. There's a lot of incompetence going on in NBA Twitter, NBA world.
You know who's not incompetent? D'Lo and KC, and they're coming up next on ESPN.